In the high-profile retrial of Karen Read, witness testimony has shaped the search for truth in the death of John O'Keefe. A Boston police officer was found dead in the snow outside a fellow officer's home. His girlfriend, Karen Read, stands accused, but the defense claims she's the victim of a frame-up. The courtroom is a battleground of conflicting narratives, hinging on the accounts of those who were there and those who analyzed the evidence. This video will walk you through the most pivotal witnesses and what their words revealed. Join us as we explore the statements that could either convict Karen Read or set her free. The emotional weight of the trial intensified as Jennifer McCabe took the stand. Her testimony marked a pivotal moment, offering a deeply personal perspective on the events surrounding John O'Keefe's death. As a close friend to both Karen Read and John O'Keefe, McCabe's account carried significant weight, painting a picture of their relationship and the events leading up to that fateful night. She vividly described the frantic, desperate search for John the morning after, detailing the growing sense of panic as the hours passed and he remained missing. The search culminated in the horrifying discovery of his lifeless body, lying under a blanket of snow on the lawn outside Brian Albert's home. The scene was one of stark contrast, the pristine snow against the grim reality of the situation. McCabe recounted Karen's anguished scream upon finding John, a raw expression of grief and disbelief that resonated throughout the courtroom. The discovery triggered immediate chaos, a flurry of activity as emergency responders arrived on the scene, attempting to make sense of the unfolding tragedy. The jury listened intently to the desperate 911 call, a chilling audio recording that captured the urgency and fear of that moment. The recording highlighted the frantic and ultimately failed attempts at CPR, underscoring the gravity of John's condition. She testified that Karen repeatedly screamed, "I hit him!" a phrase that would become a focal point of the trial. This statement, presented as a spontaneous admission of guilt, was central to the prosecution's case, forming a cornerstone of their argument. The defense, however, wasted no time in attacking McCabe's credibility, aiming to cast doubt on her testimony and motives. Their line of questioning heavily focused on a suspicious Google search made on her phone, "How long to die in cold?" a search that raised serious questions about her potential involvement or knowledge of the events. The timing of this search, conducted before the discovery of the body, became a key point of contention. McCabe insisted she performed the search at Karen's request after the body was found, seeking information in a state of shock and confusion. But the precise timing of the search and the reason behind it remains hotly contested, fueling speculation and debate. Was McCabe simply a grieving friend, caught in the crossfire of a tragic event? Or, as the defense implied through their relentless questioning, was she potentially part of a larger cover-up, concealing crucial information? Her testimony, filled with emotion and contradiction, ultimately set the stage for the trial's central conflict, highlighting the opposing narratives and the difficult task facing the jury. Canton police officer Stephen Seraph was the first on the scene, finding John O'Keefe unresponsive in the snow, surrounded by frantic friends. He described Karen Read as hysterical, mentioning a fight with John the night before. Seraph initially treated the scene as a medical emergency, not a homicide, a decision later scrutinized by the defense. He noted the snow, lack of obvious struggle, and O'Keefe's visible injuries. The defense questioned why the scene wasn't better secured and why witnesses weren't separated, suggesting early investigative missteps. Seraph's account provided the jury with a raw, unfiltered snapshot, before theories and accusations took over. Dr. Renee Robinson, the medical examiner, a seasoned professional with years of experience in forensic pathology, presented the stark facts, the culmination of her detailed examination and analysis of the body. John O'Keefe died from blunt force trauma to the head and hypothermia. These were the two primary factors contributing to his death, according to the medical examiner's report. She detailed deep cuts, meticulously documenting each one, facial bruising, indicating significant impact and trauma to the face, and multiple skull fractures, revealing the severity of the head injuries sustained. Noting the injuries could be consistent with being struck by a vehicle, the prosecution's primary theory, or something else. This ambiguity became a central point of contention. The prosecution argued the wounds matched a hit from Karen Read's SUV, presenting forensic evidence to support their claim, while the defense pressed Robinson on alternative causes, exploring other possibilities that could explain the injuries, like a fall or assault. They suggested the injuries could have been inflicted by something other than a vehicle. Robinson admitted she couldn't definitively say what caused the injuries, maintaining her professional objectivity, only that they were severe and incapacitating. The extent of the trauma was undeniable. Her findings became the scientific foundation for both sides' narratives, each attempting to interpret the evidence in their favor. The official cause of death was clear, established through rigorous medical examination, but the manner remained open to interpretation, leaving room for reasonable doubt and conflicting theories. The jury was left to weigh the medical evidence against the competing stories, tasked with the difficult decision of determining the truth. As the trial progressed, the defense team sought to introduce reasonable doubt, challenging the prosecution's narrative. To that end, they called Dr. Frank Sheridan, a highly respected forensic pathologist known for his meticulous approach and extensive experience in analyzing injury patterns. His role was to offer an alternate interpretation of the evidence, to challenge the prosecution's theory of how O'Keefe sustained her injuries. After carefully reviewing the medical records and evidence, Sheridan argued that O'Keefe's injuries were inconsistent with a car strike, the prosecution's primary assertion. Instead, he presented a compelling alternative, suggesting instead a brutal beating, possibly inflicted inside the house, and he raised the specter of a possible dog attack to explain some of the wounds. He meticulously pointed to linear abrasions and distinct puncture wounds visible on O'Keefe's body, arguing that these were telltale signs and compelling evidence of animal bites. Furthermore, he highlighted the presence of multiple skull fractures, asserting that these were not the result of a single impact, but rather were indicative of repeated blows to the head. Sheridan's detailed and persuasive testimony directly supported the defense's claim of a potential cover-up, suggesting that key evidence had been overlooked or deliberately suppressed. He raised serious questioning about why the family dog, a large German shepherd, wasn't thoroughly examined for any signs of involvement, and further questioned why the house, where the alleged attack occurred, wasn't immediately treated as a potential crime scene, subject to forensic analysis. Naturally, the prosecution wasted no time in attempting to discredit Sheridan's testimony, launching a vigorous cross-examination aimed at attacking his methodologies and questioning his impartiality as an expert witness. As a result, the jury was faced with a complex and challenging situation, a battle of highly qualified experts, each presenting conflicting interpretations of the same evidence, each expert meticulously interpreting the same injuries, the same medical data, but arriving at radically different conclusions about the events that transpired. Even science, with its supposed objectivity, it seemed, was now up for intense debate and open to multiple interpretations within the confines of the courtroom. With few eyewitnesses, digital forensics became crucial. The prosecution's expert used cell phone data, texts, and location pings to place Karen Read's SUV at the scene around the time of O'Keefe's death. O'Keefe's phone and Apple Watch data suggested a sudden, incapacitating event. The defense countered with their own expert, highlighting a suspicious Google search by Jennifer McCabe and challenging the accuracy of cell tower data. They argued the digital evidence was manipulated to fit the prosecution's narrative. Both sides used the same data to tell opposing stories. The digital trail, once seen as objective, became another battleground. Accident reconstruction experts took center stage. The prosecution specialist argued the damage to Read's SUV matched a pedestrian strike, with taillight fragments found at the scene. Computer animations showed how a reversing vehicle could have caused O'Keefe's injuries. The defense's expert disagreed, saying the taillight damage was minor and inconsistent with a fatal collision, suggesting it could have happened earlier. No biological evidence was found on the SUV. The jury was left with two scientific stories, each plausible, each incomplete. Neighbors on Fairview Road offered outside perspectives. One neighbor testified he didn't see Karen Read's SUV parked outside when police arrived, raising questions about the prosecution's timeline. Heavy snowfall and poor visibility complicated memories and observations. The defense argued snowplows could have moved or hidden evidence, or even O'Keefe's body. The prosecution said the blizzard explained why no one saw or heard the incident. The neighbors' accounts added context but no clear answers. Their imperfect memories became another piece of the puzzle. The last public sighting of Read and O'Keefe was at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. The bartender described a normal night. No arguments, just drinks with friends. The prosecution focused on Read's level of intoxication, suggesting it impaired her judgment. The defense emphasized the lack of conflict, arguing the prosecution was inventing a motive. The bartender's testimony offered context, not answers. The jury had to decide if it was a happy night or the prelude to tragedy. Trooper Michael Proctor led the investigation, collecting evidence and building the case against Karen Read. He described finding taillight fragments and focusing on Read as the primary suspect. The defense attacked his credibility, revealing biased, vulgar texts and personal ties to the Albert family. They accused him of ignoring evidence inside the house and failing to treat it as a crime scene. Proctor admitted his language was unprofessional, but defended his investigation. His testimony became a trial within a trial. Was he a dedicated officer or a corrupt investigator? The jury had to decide. The defense's police practices expert systematically critiqued the investigation. He cited tunnel vision, failure to secure the house, and missed opportunities to collect evidence. The expert argued these were not minor errors, but critical failures that compromised the case. The prosecution countered that the investigation was reasonable, if imperfect. The jury had to weigh claims of incompetence against accusations of conspiracy. Was it human error, or something more sinister? The prosecution leaned on forensic science to tie Read's SUV to O'Keefe's death. A crime lab scientist testified that taillight fragments from the scene matched Read's Lexus, and O'Keefe's DNA was found on the broken light. Plastic fragments on O'Keefe's clothing further supported the vehicle strike theory. The defense questioned the timing and handling of evidence, suggesting it could have been planted. They noted the lack of blood or tissue on the SUV and challenged the certainty of the DNA transfer. The science linked car to victim, but not conclusively to the crime. The jury had to decide what the evidence really proved. Karen Read did not testify, but her defense was ever present. Her lawyers argued she was the victim of a cover-up, not a killer. They claimed O'Keefe was attacked inside the house, then left outside to die. Read's frantic search, 911 call, and grief were framed as those of an innocent woman. Her statement, "I hit him," was described as a hysterical utterance, not a confession. The defense painted a picture of powerful insiders protecting their own. The jury was asked to see the case through her eyes. The trial became a fierce battle of narratives. The prosecution presented a compelling case of a fatal domestic dispute versus the defense's counter-narrative, a story of conspiracy, elaborate cover-up, and hidden motives. Each witness provided a piece of the puzzle, offering their perspective, but the full picture remained elusive, shrouded in doubt and uncertainty. Now, after all the evidence, it's up to the jury to decide, accident, murder, or something else entirely? What do you think really happened that fateful night? Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more captivating true crime stories.